is scheduled. They were live. Look at that.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. As you can tell, I'm in the world of back on the phone because the power is just it's just gone. It's just been taken now. We've had some mega storms. We had hello to everybody in the chat. I'm sorry, I can't add anything in the probably just as well in the chat when I'm mobile like this. Well, I'm not mobile, I'm sat here. But yeah, on Sunday, my shed roof got bent in half, and we had 100 mils of rain in 40 minutes. So it was quite spectacular, and the rain didn't come down like this; it came like this. It was horizontal rain. So obviously, horizontal rain is the strongest.
Well, it would have missed the ground then.
Well, that's true. Yeah. If we didn't have so many trees in the horizontal and vertical surfaces, it wouldn't have got as much rain. You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. So it's been so we had power for a little bit for a day, and but it's gone again this afternoon. But we've been quite lucky. Some people have had they've been off since Sunday. So we're doing all right. Really. There we are. It's life. So what should we rant about first? I have a question for Stephen. There's another video's come up on LinkedIn of a swarm descending, and people have immediately gone on to GNS jamming.
Yeah.
Have you? So in fact, it's going for Mark as well. You are the swarm boys. So have we seen that one? And what do we think?
Yes, it was sent to me today. Actually, it was sent to me today. I don't know. I've not really analysed it enough. Because it looks to me just from what I've seen, it looks like people were in the area and the drones were coming down. They weren't actually falling, but they were, if we want to say, let's say a controlled descent, if you want to say. And everyone had umbrellas, which I thought was really odd as well. You see people with umbrellas, which of course.
Well, maybe they're
stop falling
drones.
Exactly. Drone shield. That's it. It's your product. See the affiliate link in the description.
Counter
Absolutely. How are we going to must paint them up in all different things here? There we are. Yeah. Hang on, let me make a note of that.
I don't seem to recognise the make of drone as well. It was something that I haven't seen before. Mark, I don't know if you recognised it, but I haven't really analysed it too much. I've got a high level, comments that I should spend some more time. I've been so busy today. I'll try to get time to look at this. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, and it didn't really look. There was a sense of panic. But people were kind of like, oh, yes, well, I've got my umbrella and it's okay.
Just to be clear, in the UK, and I should think for Stephen in Yarswell, you would never be that close to a swarm of that many drones that high. You would never. I wonder if it's either AI, a good AI video, or it's not a GNS hack. Because if it was, it wouldn't affect just a few drones. People have to understand that if it's a GNS problem, like the GPS, if someone's doing something, the whole swarm, everything, because the way that the swarm works, the RTK base station picks up the signals, corrects it, pumps it back out to the drones. But if you affect a GNS signal, it affects everything that's getting that information. It won't just affect 1, 10, 20, or 100. It would affect the 1,000. It's self-destroying in its own way. So I don't think it's GPS. I don't think it's GNS.
No, it looks like a if you want to say, it looks like a lack of security, where people have been in the area and they've got into the area, and it's where the drones have been coming. Again, don't quote me on this. I'm just looking at what I've just seen. Because that does happen, where you have people who will just get into the area, and if you don't have the right security, because when you do these kind of shows, you have to have security to make sure that people don't get in. And if you don't have the security, people will just come into the area and they'll say, "Oh, that's where the drones are. I'll go over there." and then that is the kind of thing that can happen. So, I think that I will analyze it more and see.
And of course, the other thing that created instant LinkedIn posts was the Heathrow thing, and that created instant Heathrow posts from all the counter UAS companies. Thankfully, we don't seem to have disappeared down there. I thought for certain we were going to disappear down into that rabbit hole and drones were going to get blamed. But plainly, somebody did drop a spanner into the whole thing or whatever and cause it to catch fire. But I think we dodged the bullet. But again, the LinkedIn news all went, oh, counter UAS, be prepared, be prepared.
Yeah, that's just the algorithm working for the for the sales. It's just the sales guys going, oh, here we go, which is just complete nonsense.
And then Bruce is alluding to another story. The battery's blown up. he's got lots of no, he's back. He's got lots of batteries charging. I thought we were going to see a fire in the background, a bit cushion based. But I am tired, Cliff. By the way, thanks for noticing that. I've been super science day at school today, and we were blowing things up, and we did too good a job of it in some regards. So it's I'm not concerned about that, but it was very, very, very impressive. The F-47, the first time in history that a new generation of fighter has been given the title connected to the current president's number. It's just and it's, well, I think you're suggesting it's an AI fighter, Bruce. I don't know.
Well, that's what Trump said. It is the most lethal aircraft ever, and then he says it's got AI co-pilot, it's got AI drones, and it's made by Boeing, the manufacturers of the 737 MAX 9 and the Star thing, that space capsule. These are all ingredients for a fantastic recipe.
They are, aren't they?
Here's what I think's going on. Boeing and Starliner going into space can't be done efficiently and cost effective. Boeing needs another government revenue source, because obviously that'll get kiboshed now because of SpaceX. So give them the fighter jet contract to keep them, alive and have money. That's what that contract is.
Yeah, because the money gets shared around. I mean, last time it was who did the F-35? Those people, they got it. Yeah, look, now it's time for Boeing to get a share. So these companies don't disappear for lack of government funding, because Elon's taken most of that already for Tesla and SpaceX.
He's got a big bag of it, hasn't he? There's so much of it. In fact, he can't carry it anymore. So it's time to give more to someone else.
Although, did you see Tesla? $1.4 billion has gone missing off Tesla's books somewhere that they don't know where it is. I mean, it's only a small amount. Don't worry about it. But remember, Elon, he's the man who's going to track down everything, including copies of Windows that have been licensed but not used because it's an expense to the taxpayer. He's looking at the details, but forget the big picture.
And I believe that at this moment in time, they've not found a single person to prosecute for fraud. So, that would seem to me to be a thing.
Give them time. Give them time. Well, good things take time. Yeah, they're all married people being prosecuted for fraud.
But hasn't Boeing also agreed to, I read something yesterday that they're allowing the charges for the 737 for those accidents that happened, that everything can be dropped or something. I was reading something about that.
I think they're withdrawing their plea or something.
I think they're withdrawing the plea. That's what it is, Bruce. Yeah, thanks. They're withdrawing the plea in order to help them with more orders and stuff like that, which I would assume be government contracts. So
they're just Elon will undead all those people, so everything will be fine.
Yeah. Of course.
It's quite a thing watching from afar. Dear American viewers, I feel sorry for you.
We do.
But they're just strange watching from afar, isn't it?
I still can't believe that Trump brought peace to the Russia-Ukraine conflict in the first 24 hours. That amazes me.
It is, and the price of eggs. Oh, that's the other thing that we got to. That's made us laugh today. Sorry, this is a bit of a weird reference, but we have 3 trays of eggs for children to make parachutes with. You know, and you think, oh, you couldn't afford to do this in America. This would be impossible. This would be the most expensive experiment that they'd be doing. Would be just dropping the eggs. So anyway, sorry, America.
But hey, speaking of eggs,
apparently, actually, Finland is coming to the rescue with eggs because we're actually exporting hundreds of thousands of eggs. It was in the news today that we're exporting hundreds of thousands of eggs to the US to help them with their egg shortage.
but there are bigger problems, and there's some of these new diseases out there that they're going to have to create vaccines for. With an egg shortage, one of the traditional ways of creating a vaccine is using egg albumin as a medium. If there's no eggs, you can't create enough vaccines for these new viruses that are breaking out.
Yikes, Batman. Yikes. God, we are not talking drones, are we, this week?
We're not.
But Amazon is talking drones. Don't they have to have a pilot for every drone? That makes it uneconomic, doesn't it?
Yes, it makes it
hang on a minute.
very uneconomic.
I didn't see that coming at all. Well, no one saw it. Who knew? How could anyone know? No one could possibly have known that.
It's all news to us.
What was happening with Wing? Because and even the other drone delivery, all these government initiatives that have been going on, has that been the same? Have they had one pilot per drone? Yes. Have they? Okay.
Yes. I think it depends. Does it depend on whether they're flying BV loss or not? I don't know whether that makes a difference, but certainly this is no. Because in Australia they have one Wing pilot for goodness knows how many of their operational drones.
They do, and I think in Ireland, Mana has multiple aircraft, single operator. The UK is not. The UK not signed that off yet.
They must be very good pilots, because here you even getting one drone per pilot is sometimes very difficult due to the regulations.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Wow.
The Amazon one, it's just beyond. It beats me. It's
maybe it's due to the size of the drone, the 85-pound megalith, beyond the 55-pound threshold.
But if they want to go down the Sora route, right, and we have the same here in Europe, where you can fly, multiple drones with one operator. We've seen this. I have actually seen this happening with Mana, so I've seen them do it. I've seen the guy actually operating multiple at the same time. We know Wing are doing the same, and also others. Why is the UK so different? Why are they making it so difficult for themselves? It really beggars. Joking aside, right? I mean, we know how stupid the whole thing is, but why are they making it so difficult for themselves? Why are they making this industry so hard when they just become a laughingstock compared to the rest of the world?
Well, here's what's going to happen: is it's going to be something daft like this, where you've got 100 aircraft, you need 100 pilots to fly them, and then you need shifts, of course, and it'll be seen as a way to bring jobs into the industry, blah, blah, blah. However, let's say 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, government policy would change, DFT policy would change, and they go, actually, you can have one pilot per 10 drones or 20 drones, and then they can sack them all off, the ones they don't need. So they'll sack a load of pilots, and they'll just keep the few they need. So it's like it'll be a job boost and a job collapse afterwards, because it'll be a case of, okay, you needed X amount of pilots, now you don't, and it'll just be a policy change in 3 or 4 years, because we know that the CAA, the DFT, the goalposts that they like to have just do this. If you're playing jumping all over the place,
and that's where it becomes difficult for you, Mark, because you might get a knock on the door in a few days' time, and then you might have to have 100 pilots for 100 drones, or 200 pilots.
They've allowed it with swarms, haven't they? To be fair, they have carved it out for swarms, but that was going to be one operator per per device a long time ago.
Yeah.
I just really want to see that. I want to see that one wing pilot with the 10 drones when the GPS system goes down. He will not be able to find enough power lines to land them all on in time.
Those precision landings. Well, I guess you are just going to hit land, aren't you, in that situation? And I'd like to see what their mitigations for that are.
I want to see that. I actually want that to happen, because we need to, we need to see that. We need to, the authorities have to know how to deal with it, because I mean, they know how to deal with it on documentation. They, they have all that in documentation, how they deal with it. I've seen it, I've read it, I've got those documents, and so I've seen how it is. But obviously, in reality, at some point, with that amount of flights and that amount of time, it is going to happen at some point. So, it is interesting to see how they deal with it, and how the staff are ready. What the communication line is, and I mean, I know that the authorities here know that it will be dealt with, but of course, it's how it is dealt with and what is the reality from that. What will be the outcome of the press? How will the public react to it? That is the most important thing, and trying to get the right message across, that this is just an incident, because cars crash, and all the rest of it.
Well, here I've said it before many times. We have a big problem with GPS jamming for cash in transit van hijacking.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They come along and they start whacking out a big jamming signal so that the office tracking the cash in transit van has no idea where the cash in transit van is, and some expensive cars as well. So in cities here, I can see it being quite a consistent problem.
Yeah.
It's not just a war zone sort of a problem.
No.
It's going to happen for other reasons. And they use
also
it
when the Kessler syndrome kicks in, it's all gone.
Yes. Yeah. There's lots of other reasons that will make it change, isn't there?
Coronal mass ejections. There's so many potential ways we can lose GNSS, which is another reason why pilotless air taxis are never going to be a thing in our time. But I haven't seen them having to provide any kind of mitigation. At least they haven't spoken about any kind of mitigation. And as we said, the wing lands on power lines as a precautionary measure. That cuts the power to neighbourhoods so people don't hurt themselves while the drone's not flying. I don't know why the reasons are, but I mean, these things are flying over neighbourhoods, over people's pools and over roads and things. The potential for disaster is very high. So you would expect the mitigation strategies to be very stringent and well managed, but we don't hear of them.
But aren't we moving quite quickly to forgetting GNSS, especially if you're in an area that you're always flying? If it's a known built environment, a city or town or whatever, you're gonna map that whole place and have cameras.
Which means you have to have optical systems on board to follow that. But then what if it's foggy or cloudy or it rains or someone shines a laser at your drone? I mean, there's so many risk factors. If someone's going to deny GNSS, they're probably going to shine a laser at it as well.
I don't think. Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the GNS issues that we have here in Finland, and we do get them because of the shadow fleet that pass from Russia when they're on their way selling oil and stuff. They're not actually targeting us, let's say personally. They're just actually putting out interference to get just cause as much trouble as possible. And as a problem, it's it is very kind of random. So you never know when it's going to happen. You know that there's constant jamming at higher altitudes, but depending on where the shadow fleet is, depending on the atmosphere, depending on so many things, on their position and the Earth's curvature, it does affect us on certain days. So you can find that if there is interference and we're at 120 meters, we don't get anything. But depending if the ship's a bit more nearer, a bit more further, we can get interference at 70 meters. That's what we've noticed. And it's also the same for what's happening also with the drone delivery. And when they found out that this was happening, they reacted really quickly. So which was really good because they took it really seriously. And there was all sorts of monitoring, and they were getting as much data as possible. They were, we were putting sensors all over the city and all over the region. I was going out and putting them everywhere, and they were getting the data back. But they took it really, really seriously. It was almost like a, holy shit, this is not good. And so it was good to see that kind of information that they want to try to combat. They want to try to see if they can do anything with it. Of course, but I mean, I don't know what they've done now, but I was just I was just putting sensors everywhere and hoping that it would help them, So, but
I'm sure it has. And well, that's one of the mitigations, isn't it? Is make your RTK and network. But I mean, at the end of the day, I know that the signals are coming from space, so they're coming downhill. So obviously, it's a bit easier for them. But they're only mostly electric, 25 watts, and it's quite a long way away. So yeah, it's a small signal your receiver's hearing, and generally we're using tiny antennas.
But to be fair, it is downhill.
That's what I said. Yeah, it's downhill. So yeah, it's
faster.
Help, isn't it? Yeah, it's got to help. But it's we're not helping ourselves by using suboptimal antennas and things in a lot of ways to save weight. And they're not particularly, well, Bruce knows more about it.
It's interesting. I noticed that on like the Agris, the DJI, they're using helical GPS antennas. I wonder if that's to reduce the risk of jamming.
Yeah, well, you can get a much better a multipathing, better view of the horizon and all that.
Yeah,
they're definitely coming back into fashion, aren't they? They went away. It's what everyone used to start with.
Because patches are smaller, lighter, and cheaper.
Yeah. So it's got to be something in that. A lot of the RTK stuff that helical. I've never had a helical GPS. I've only ever had patches. Maybe I'll get some.
Now we know what to get you for Christmas, Gary.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I can't test any of this stuff because apart from there's no cash. There's no. We never have cash and transit van heists coming down our little road here, and I can't test ADSB stuff because no airplanes come by. It's very hard to test things. It's not here. But there we are. It would have been. I'd be interested in testing the getting out of the way of weather algorithms and systems, because that storm on Sunday it really did. It didn't quite come out of nowhere, but it arrived, and it arrived fast. And you think, God, if you had anything in the air, what
How did the vertiport handle all that?
Yeah, it was a vertiport roof that bent in half. You see, that was a big.
So it's out of action for the time being, then.
It's NOTAM. If you read your NOTAMs, you'll see it.
Someone better tell Joby.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what happened? There's something happened in all that world, didn't it, this week? I forgot what it was now. I think somebody, much like the Tether missing money, I think someone else noticed that there seems to be quite a bit of money or promise missing from a few of those, as the FAA is getting slowed down now in the current number 47 administration. That's a bus, isn't it? Another one of you wrong just now. But as it's getting slowed down, their runway lengths, the VC runway lengths for their taxis are being quizzed quite strenuously. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be E-Hang. It's going to be the only one left in the room, isn't it? The dreadful one.
Lex Rider.
Yeah, I didn't leave that out for any other things.
Recapping the competition.
Recapping. Oh, the one I used in the thumbnail. I've nearly sat down to write a thing about how disappointed I am. Did I say this last week? I can't remember. But how disappointed I am that we're not seeing just more standard-looking, simple airframes doing standard, simple jobs. Everybody's got to design something around some fantastic box wing or.
That's how you get your venture capital.
Well, quite, but it's nonsense, isn't it? A lot of these
Yeah,
complex.
but venture capitalists tend to be pretty stupid by the sound of it. Look at the money they've invested so far in eVTOLs and other senseless things without doing due diligence and asking people that know a little bit about the technology. So I don't have a great deal of hope that the venture capitalists have suddenly gained some brain cells.
I think that most of them are actually not really going for, let's say, the air taxis. It's more the technology that's around it as well. I think that's
the bit that's missing.
Yeah, it's the bit that's missing. Exactly. But it's all the battery technology and all the rest of it. That's what I think that everyone is really interested in, and I think the rest of it's all a bit of fluff.
How about we just get some wires hold up high in the sky, and we have like trams, but eVTOL trams, and they just connect up to the wires for the power? That'd be so cool.
Why don't you look up
The trouble is that is, if we went off, if we made a concerted effort with our dear viewers as well, all of us went off and we decided to work on a plan, and we ran it up and we made the renders and we put it out there, we could get that in the world.
Sky power.
Sky power.
It's the future. It's the AI cabling with Bitcoin or 3D renders. Let's go.
Skylight.
But you've got the old version. I'm going to use lasers. I'm going to have them flying down laser pathways, powered by the laser. So
isn't that Tron?
Is it?
Isn't that Tron?
Yeah, but there's not enough sharks in the world to power that.
I think you're thinking of Tron, Gary.
Oh, Tron. That's inside the computer, though, isn't it? We went to see that. My brother and I in Windermere in the rain in the 70s, 80s, I suppose it was, maybe late 70s. And we were the only two in the cinema. But anyway, did Bruce, did you have an earthquake in your area? Did you have an earthquake, Bruce? Asked Tommy. Maybe it's happening right now.
Not personally, but there was one down the bottom end of the country. Apparently, they were worried about tidal tsunamis and things, but I don't think it came to much. We're used to earthquakes here. Like people go, "Oh, earthquakes! They happen all the time here." We're on the edge of a tectonic plate, big fault line, so we get regular earthquakes. Nothing to worry about.
Nothing to see here and move along.
Earthquakes are like storms for you, Gary.
Yeah. We get what they get in Joburg is they get a lot of mine collapses for these 5 mile deep mines that they have there, and they collapse and the whole city shakes. There's another one that's 100 years old that falls apart. So they have a great big holes in the ground that open up, potentially 5 miles deep. It's like, or whatever.
Send money now. Send money now.
Skyvolt. There we are. and we're on YouTube and it's already listening, so the algorithm's already pulling together these Skyvolt aerial taxi system. And it's what we'll do is we'll put those lines down the existing roads because there's car parks there and the shop.
And we can start selling. We can sell merch. We can sell shirts to replace the one you're about to lose.
So I'm a little bit tempted to do this. Hang on, let me write that down. So did we decide Skyvolt? Now, is it 240 or is it 110?
I think it's 240.
Is it 240? Are you sure it's 240?
Yeah. It's 240 here.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's 240. Yeah, all right. 240 is it?
Yeah.
So it's 240 volts. Yeah, okay. And it's just like a tram, but suspended from the cable.
Proven technology elevated to the next level.
Urban. I'm gonna write that down.
It's like that. Have you ever been to? There's a town in Germany called Wuppertal, and they have this tram that hangs. It's like a hanging tram. Have you ever seen it? It's actually really cool. It's actually one of the coolest things. If you Google what was it? I think it's Wuppertal. And this tram has been running since like 1912. It even survived World War II. It's an amazing piece of engineering, and it's like a hanging train. So it's quite similar to what you're talking about, but it's only like 10
like a
meters
monorail.
high. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool, really nice.
And once it's potentially done, moved thousands and thousands and thousands of people silently and effectively into a city centre for more than 100 years, maybe, perhaps.
I would say so.
So that'll never catch on.
Never.
Hey, maybe we could put it in a tube and draw all the air out.
Yeah. Is he actually building? I don't know if he's building one of those. Is he building one, or it's just
Who? No, he's not. It's technically, he's dismantled the one that he built, the little short 1 kilometre stretch of thing. That's all gone now. It's a car park because it's just stupid. But he did donate it. He didn't patent it. Good on him, mate. He's just donated it to the public domain, like Mr. Goddard.
Yeah. What's in it? I can't do anything in the private chat, I'm afraid. Oh, there we are. Oh, I also can't see the screen now that I've done that.
She's poking me in the eye with his big finger. What's you doing?
Yeah. Not hard. Really not hard to remember that. No.
Trust us for all your technology needs. Come to us for advice. We'll help
We can
you.
invent them. Yeah, if I had the PC up, we'd have the pictures running already. We'd have all that sort of good stuff. Yeah, no, the reason I used that airplane in the thumbnail is I just thought, wow, that's quite a pretty looking thing, and we all know that common thing in aviation. If it looks right, it is right. That's a pretty looking thing. The engine's in the right place.
So what do you think of the F-47 then? It's got no vertical, the concept thing has no vertical stabilizer surfaces. It looks a lot like the X-36, don't you think?
I think it's not going to happen in my lifetime, and I'm planning on living at least another 20 or 30 years, so it's not going to happen.
Will it be electric, I wonder?
Will it be electric? Yeah, well, no. Well, if it is, then it can use Skyvolt.
Yes,
we might have to make that one a bit more powerful for that. But
there'll be air-to-air recharging and everything. It'll be fantastic.
You can land on power cables. You can land on power cables.
That's what Google does.
Yeah. Been flying for years, the F-47. Has it really, Tommy? Has it?
We have been flying it for years. Oh, has he?
Wow.
Must have some inside knowledge, eh? How'd you pilot?
Oh yeah. All right, you got me. You definitely got me. Definitely got me there. Yeah, absolutely. It's astonishing that pops up, and I'm still getting no end of Lockheed Martin telling me how good the F-35 is. I'm not sure why they think I'm a target customer.
How many have crashed this month?
I don't know, but Crearis class markings, yes, I've forgotten to move on to that. And well, who's going to apply for the job? Because they're seeking the person to run it. So that doesn't mean it's going to roll out tomorrow, does it?
No, the idea is to get it in place by so need them in place and then C markings go live 2026. However, as a manufacturer, right now I can't even get a C rating.
And you could do it in Ireland, couldn't you?
Well, that's it. I'll have to go to Europe, and it'll probably have to be somewhere like Italy or somewhere that's got something.
But you can't have C because you're flying a specific category. So you want to have C.
Yeah, because C5 and C6 are coming, aren't they? But obviously you get C0, C1, C2. Then there's 3, 4, 5, and 6 to come. So,
but the C class doesn't really matter if you're flying a specific category.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, but it gets a bit crazy because what happens if I fly my drone in the open category?
What you mean, fly your drone or your drones?
Well, if I fly one of my drones,
then of course, yes, you can.
Because that's you go. Oh, hang on a minute.
See, but yes, you do.
Slow down. I'm not following this at all. Start from the beginning for someone that's not following this at all. So, a light show is what C class, or is it?
There isn't one.
Single one. There is no C-class, the light show.
No, because you can't because you don't fly light show drones in urban areas.
Right.
So I mean, if you fly, for example, a Mini, or you fly a Mavic 3 or Air 3, or let's say a DJI M350, which is C3, you can fly them, in the open category, but from a distance of people. But if you're flying the light show drone, so if you're flying, for example, if the drone that you have in your picture that you had for the show, that would be flying a specific category. So you have to have a SORAS, or you have to have operational authorization, and you say, I'm flying in this area, and I fly, or there's no one going to be around. It's SBV loss, but we make flight plans and stuff. But it's not, or if but you can get authorization, or let's say BV loss. So if you want to fly an M350, you can fly that, let's say BV loss, even though it's C-class drone. You're not flying it as C-class. You're flying it as specific category. So it's not a C-class drone then.
Yeah, but didn't they come up with some C ratings for the specific category?
No.
Which is confusing. C5 and 6, aren't they meant to be for the specific category?
No. I don't think so.
What are they for then?
It's just numbers, isn't it? It's just
no. I'm sure. This is
must
how confusing the rules are, okay? Because I think C5 and 6 are for the specific category for certain things. However, when they started doing all this, no one thought, oh, we need a C rating for the drone swarm. However, under a Sail 2, you don't need to have a certified aircraft either, do you? That's quite important for us, because we will
Thank
be under a
goodness
Sail 2.
it's all clear. It's so clear and easy and obvious. I mean, that's what makes a good system. Something nice and safe, isn't it? It's easy to understand. Everybody's on board with it. I think Seesaw. Oh, Seesaw.
C4. Yeah,
that's another meme.
Do not be giving Bruce any ideas, okay, when you say C4, because you know what he's going to say, right?
Yeah.
I would never say that. Get demonetized, wouldn't we, Gary?
Oh, absolutely.
But Gary was blowing stuff up before. I thought he meant balloons, but no, obviously not.
No, I won't say what we're doing. That will get us into trouble. So I'm going to go to Cliff's first, then we'll go to Tommy's, because Cliff, Grey Arrows mentioned RID. I have a hunch the UK is going to go network RID out of the box. I don't think they're going to go RID. I think they're going to go network.
I don't know how they can afford to do RID here. That network RID, because network RID's, look, anyone saying network RID in the UK doesn't understand UK cell network. Part one, right?
Starlink.
It doesn't matter.
Starlink.
It's shocking, right? Our telecoms network is absolutely shocking in this country. Now, there'll be people going, no, it's not. Well, they probably live in cities, right? Come and live in my neck of the woods where it's rural, and it can say it's got
You're nearly in Europe over there. You're east of Bristol. That's Europe to me. But BT are clamoring. And what's that other one? I can think of the logo, but I can't think of the name of the company. They're very big in Europe as well. There's 2 cell phone companies that are clamoring for it to happen. And well, Arrows also says the cost, but there's no cost really. It's a SIM card in the device. It's a DJI device. It's a SIM card in the dongle. So
yeah, then you got compliant hardware to get RID modules.
Well, that's good. That's good, because they're employing a man who's going to be in charge. The DFT have told the CAA they're the people that are going to be able to say things are right and wrong.
I wonder if they'll repurpose all those TV detector vans to become drone detector vans to see if you got your RID, you had paid your RID license and got your gear. You know, people will be quivering in their boots.
I'll tell you what, when I fly my plane upside down, that'll just confuse the RID, won't it? Stick it in my model plane and just fly it inverted. See if it'll
Oh,
confuse
no,
you.
you can just you can just cover it in tinfoil. It's all right.
Yeah, you lose your GPS fix if you go inverted because the patch will be pointing at the ground,
It's really at the ground.
and then you'll be flying illegally because you probably won't be legally allowed to fly without a GPS fix. And also, it has to tie into your flight controller so that you can't take off without authorization. It's not just stick a module on your drone; it's get a compliant piece of hardware. The costs will be enormous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. People that come up with this stuff haven't got a Scooby-Doo. They're just consultants who, well, or they're just people who think stuff. It's just
they want a bit of pie, don't they? They of the pie that doesn't exist. That's the thing.
Well,
There's this huge pie, this huge pot of gold, where the operators go, of course you can have £1,000 because we got loads of money. Or April the 1st is coming up. All your charges are going through the roof, aren't they?
Yeah, so 1st of April, we're about to get a £274 jump. No, £266 jump in our fees for PDRA 01.
I wish these rich drone pilots would stop complaining.
Exactly.
Do you know what?
Exactly.
Do you know what? The DSCO system, the digital system that they brought in, was meant to make things better. So what that means is you upload your manual, you reapply. So you don't reapply anymore. You just get a new permission. They've stopped the reapplying. They're getting rid of all the numbers that we used to have that we used to all go by. So I was number like 312. That'll all die off. So you just get a new number each year. So their numbers will look better, by the way. But this digital system, you upload your manual, you get your certificate back within about 30 minutes saying, yes, you can go and do what you want, but you have a small chance. I think it's something like a 10% chance you'll get given an audit on your manual. Now, in the olden days, or now, you would upload your manual in the olden days. If you said version 1 on your front cover, but your footer or header said 1.0, the CAA would reject it right there and then.
Fair enough, too.
Right?
Different numbering.
This is how pedantic the CAA was, right? So version 1, and say version 1.0 or version 2 and say 2.0 in the footer. That's not good enough. They would reject it there and then. Now, those little typos, they don't care about that anymore. Your spelling mistakes or your misusing words, like if you said notice to airmen, right now it would have got picked up and thrown out because it's now notice to aviation and everything. Now they won't care unless you get audited, and you only have a small chance of getting audited. So if you've not kept up with all the regulations, they don't seem to care anymore. It's almost like, do you know what? We've got this new fast system. It's a new fast system, and you're making us pay twice as much, but they're not doing as many checks as they used to. It's just
so it's kind of a win, but
it's also not.
Yeah, it's kind of a win, but yeah, and let's see what happens with the Sora for that, because I got okay. So, and this is something Gary will probably know from past news. Andra have got this new app or this new tech called SoraMate. So they have the new, let's say, platform that you can do the Sora in. So you can basically upload all your documents, and it works the same way as that. It should get, let's say, automatically, approved. I think it's running at the moment. It's running in Australia. Not sure if it's running in New Zealand, but it's certainly running in Australia, and it's coming to Europe and then coming to the UK at some point very, very soon. I was getting trained up on it. I was learning how to use it last week, and I'll get to play with it, and I'll get to see if it works and how easy will it be and stuff like that. But that's also where it's going to go, where it's really good, because right now we have to do everything by hand, and it's really annoying. And here he comes. We knew he was going to be late.
I was just thinking, look at that. It's 44 minutes. I had something in my mind ready to go so that, we finish on the hour, but now we've got his hour to contend with. How you doing? Oh.
Actually, you know something, Gary? You should have a piece of music. You should have a kind of intro music. Do you remember that? Do you remember
some sort of?
If you remember the TV show from the 70s, from Roald Dahl, Tales of the Unexpected?
Oh yes.
That's what you need for this, right? You need to have that.
Well, I was instantly thinking, we can have some sort of airport announcement and then the Tales of the Unexpected till evening as well. I know, and I don't know if he's going to tell me off now. He had a great response. I thought it was a great response from the police over the UFOs over that side of the town. I thought that was a great response to have from there. What were we talking about?
Are you about the freedom of information from today?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that isn't actually mine. That's one of the UAP guys who happens to be a former police officer, and he takes interest in aerial mysteries where the authorities aren't very transparent. So I think he's actually done a few books and whatnot. He'd seen my freedom of informations on what do they know. So he just pinged me a message to say that he was looking into the Lake and Heath thing as well, was interested. So I think he's been following my freedom of information. So I've been following his. So do you want to discuss that so people know what's the latest is?
Yeah, Bruce is going to have to put it up. I thought that was pretty good. That one.
I've got no idea how to do this. This will be. Oh.
Well, it won't be any worse than me doing it. It really won't be any worse than me doing it.
I can't see anything.
I was going to say in the time. Apologies for being late. I was watching the football match of Wales, Macedonia, or whoever it was. It's Johnny Foreigner and Sod's Law. I watched for the match, and it's literally got to there's about a minute or two left. Wales do a bad pass backwards, lose a goal. There's literally seconds left, just seconds. I thought, well, I best go up. I'm late enough as it is. And the minute I walked up the stairs, boom, Wales got the goal back, and then the final whistle. So I've just missed the end of that. So any Welsh fans, you definitely want to see it if you've not already seen it on catch up later.
Well, another way of looking at it is that once you'd left the room, they felt they could perform better.
Yeah,
I mean that's another way of looking at that. You know, if you hadn't left the room, then it wouldn't have happened. But if you can put that in the that latest one, I can't do it because I'm on the mobile phone.
I'm just looking. I can't see anything.
I'll
press this one and see what happens. What happens here? It says, nah.
Bang.
No, it's not there.
It's not there.
Ian will put it there. Probably.
Oh, he hasn't put it there yet. He's working on it. Have you put it there, Ian?
I put nothing anywhere because it's on my phone, you see. It's not on my computer.
Do you want to hold it up to your camera?
Hang on.
Slightly tilt it.
I think I could probably work out on it. Give me 2 minutes.
In short, it was a very, very well done, broken down list of who said what and where and when. Although not quite, because it said I've forgotten the name of it. Is it Newmarket? You know, it just says Newmarket. It wasn't quite granular enough with the location of these sightings and complaints. But when you read it, to me, it just thought, like, oh, this is probably a similar level of complaints to any nice evening in England. Things over that the centre
PDF is now at the bottom, so you could do. I think whoever's in control can present that now.
Here we are. There we are.
So I almost kicked myself with this because this is, as you know from the history on here, this is the kind of freedom of information I normally do because it's asking for incident logs. But I've been that distracted because there's that much been going on with Gatwick that I've had that on my mind. There's obviously so many other things going on with Lake and Heath. I've been chasing those. And whenever I ask for these, it's trouble, it's arguments, and it's redactions. And here, this bloke asks, there's not one bleeding redaction in the entire thing. So I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't do it, but I'm glad that somebody else has been on the ball. But I am bitter that I get all the way down, and he's an all nice and clean. And no argument over the number as well. You know, it's like with me. It's like, oh, that's gonna take us so much time to put those 5 that you've asked for. So yeah, it just shows the freedom of information isn't applicant blind. So anyway, if we go on a few pages down on this, where it gets interesting. So he's asked for the drone reports around these United States Air Force bases. So anyone's been watching over the past weeks, it goes back to November. So there was suggestion that there was a drone that had flown near Lakenheath, which is United States Air Force Base. So the National Police Air Service helicopter was sent up to the base, and it was tasked then south straight down to Newmarket, and then it goes around on the search pattern for quite some time over Newmarket. So we've had this conversation previous week saying that what looks like the drone they have seen, because they recorded video of it as well, was over Newmarket. And obviously we haven't had the transparency there, but the authorities have gone off and they've made out that, oh, it's Putin's boys flying around a drone, or it's China, or it's Iran, or it's little men from Mars. You know, we've had all these narratives around it of making out that it's this fancy thing. We'd always said, well, it can't be this super fancy thing because they've sent the AUKUS kit, which is there to detect a commercial drone. So they're clearly expecting that it's a self-build or something off the shelf. And nothing nothing too remarkable. And obviously we've heard the rumours that it was 1.5 meters in size and this, and then what no one has said, and makes me think that this has been completely missed, because we know what it's like. There isn't a national coding standard to record drone logs. That's why we get these rubbish logs all the time saying it's 100,000 drone things when actually there's very few crimes, because it's almost as though it's deliberately made bad. And this could also mean that the authorities aren't aware of what's actually gone on and what this captures. So I don't know if someone can move it on to the last page in this, or close to it.
Yes. So look at the number that's on that page, and what you have to remember is each one of those is a drone. That is a drone incident now.
Yes.
Be it true, be it false, that is a drone incident.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure with some of those, if we looked at them, there'll be some that are quite innocent. But again, it's just from anyone's seen a drone, so it must be committing a crime, because there wouldn't be a drone in the sky otherwise. But what we see here that is interesting.
Shall I go further down?
We must have is there another?
There's another page. Oh no, that's the.
Yeah, no, because it can be. I'm sure it's on here.
Yeah, there's one fourth to the bottom.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Good spot. So yeah, so here we get it. We're getting all this. There's some kind of mystery with a drone. And it's made out as though there wasn't any mystery in the past, and suddenly, because the United States Air Force have said it, that this has just come out of nowhere. Well, it turns out that's rubbish. It turns out that in Newmarket there is a prison, and there is lots of contraband. And in November, on one incident alone, there were 8 drones delivering contraband into the prison. So you're like, so wait a minute, you have a prison with a gang of people bringing in contraband by drones, which are probably going to be heavy lift. They're probably going to be 1.5 meters you're looking for. And yet we've suddenly put restrictions around all the bases, and we're looking for some supposed state actor or something. It's like, are you absolutely sure we haven't missed the motivation here? Because we always thought, why would somebody, say for example, this was something more, and this, you just wouldn't be flying at night in November in the rubbish weather. You need a motivation. So obviously, if you were a state actor, that would be a motivation. But by the same token, being a criminal, looking for a very valuable return of smuggling in contraband, that would be your perfect motive to be flying a drone about, and it would explain the self-build that people thought they'd seen, and it explains the very fact that your National Police Air Service has been tasked to the exact place where this problem occurs. So that's essentially the latest twist with this. And
You're
and
good
the
at
guy
joining
who's
dots.
It's vanished.
You're very good at joining dots, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, until we see the National Police Air Service video, we don't know if this is it. But I would say this knocks this up to the top of the list. And certainly, if you're going to talk about Iran and Russia and men from the moon, this would definitely be at the top of that list. You should be ticking that off first, and then going down and saying, maybe it's a state actor or so on.
Yeah, that's good, eh? Gary's gone. Guess his phone ran out of battery.
Has he got electrical problems again?
Yeah.
Or internet, whatever. Yeah. Any more for any more? That's what he says. Because we've just... Oh, no, we're not there yet. We got to keep going. Oh, no, we'll get the money. Contractually obligated to do the full hour, aren't we?
Yes, contractually, yes.
Yeah. So how do you recognize contraband? Is it because they wear cowboy hats and play steel guitars? Oh, it's a country band. Very similar. Next.
I was wondering where that joke was going there.
So, anyone see anything else of interest?
Give me 2 seconds. I'll go next and refresh my memory.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's been a quiet week, actually. Not too much happening.
No.
So yeah, no, there was just one little thing that not quite drove, but National Police Air Service I thought was quite interesting. They put video out in the last week where they were actually trying to apprehend a criminal, and it's just because there's always this argument of drones versus helicopters, where really it should be the complementary things, different tasks, different use cases, but. It was quite interesting because they didn't have anyone on the ground that was close enough to grab this guy, so they actually landed the helicopter. A member of the crew ran out, or I think it might be a couple, and they actually apprehended the guys, kept hold of them until the rest of the police turned up, which I just thought was kind of interesting because again, that's we do see that a few times of the actual helicopter itself landing, and also the extra awareness because although it's got very good optics. If you look at what the crews actually post, and because they do actually actively discuss with people that follow them, they explain like in some situations they're actually going down low and they're looking out the windows. It's actually far easier to be looking out and seeing at times rather than actually just trying to chase something around with a camera. So it's just one of those things thinking as you go future, because they've picked the drone they're going to actually use as they go into BV loss. So that'll be complementing the helicopters. But obviously there will always be the pressure with money of people saying, well, let's get rid of the crude helicopter and let's just have it all drones. There will always be that pressure. And I fear when you get to that day, you will then start losing some capability that people don't realize actually gets utilized. So although it might be infrequent, it does make a difference that you actually do have a crew there in a craft.
Those heavy lift drones will work, though, won't they? The ones they get people out of prison with.
Yeah. So those ones that are just taking people out of prison every week.
Absolutely, we've seen that.
It's funny actually. I did tag on because this freedom of information. I put it out on X just to let people know that this is the latest twist, and I did tag the inspector of prisons and the former prison governor that's very chatty on this topic, but not even a like from them or that. And I thought, well, I thought he'd appreciated that, given he likes his drone drama. One thing that does concern me with the sort of the prison inspection service is because when I sort of did free information to them, I said, well, why didn't you mention IMSI captures, which detect the mobile phones? Because really your root cause often to a drone getting in is someone having the mobile phone first, arranging all this and working out where it's going to be dropped and whatever. So if you get rid of the mobile phones, you've stopped that chain already. And an IMSI capture will actually tell you. I think you can even tap into what's actually going backwards and forwards and see that, but it will actually even tell you which cell the phone's in, so you can just go in there and grab them all. And I got a reply back that kind of said, well, it's not for us to tell them what technology to use, yet they're always banging on about drone jammers. I'm thinking, wait a minute, you can't be saying use drone jammers, which we know will be defeated, as we've seen in Ukraine, and already there's been a drone captured in a prison that can defeat jamming. That's one thing that does concern me when they decide which technology. They'll say, oh well, it's not for us to talk about that technology yet, we'll talk about another. If you're going to get into that game of discussing technologies, you should be looking at them all and getting back to what the root causes are, and also educating yourself on all the options and pros and cons, which doesn't seem to happen. As we know, the idea of actually putting meshes up gets written off, but actually putting physicals, physical will always be best. And really what should be happening is talking to the companies that manufacture and just getting a good value for money for that, rather than just saying, no, that'll be too expensive. Actually start weighing stuff up and actually trying to, the thing as well is if you try to do orders instead of doing it prison by prison, because that wouldn't work in the health service. The reason the NHS gets stuff cheap is it buys it as a block with the NHS, and they should do stuff with the prison service.
But is that because the prison service that it's not in a sense nationalised, or is each prison funded separately?
I honestly don't know the reason behind it. I think it's a mixture of private and public sector, isn't it? Prisons.
Yeah.
Say, aren't our prisons run by? I want to say SC. Is it SC4 or something? That security company? Aren't a lot?
And there may be others. So I think it's kind of public, but it's tendered out, and then there will be private at the end.
It makes it difficult to make decisions nationally. Then and that's why, because obviously you have the police, and they have their different regions. So for example, when you look at the police in the UK, so you have, your Yorkshire Police, you've got West Midlands Police, blah blah blah, and they're funded, each in their own way. Whereas here in Finland, even though you have different regions of police, they're all funded the same, which means they all get drones. They all get the same amount of drones. They all get the same amount of training. They all get the same amount of equipment. But the fire department here, it doesn't, because it's funded differently. So they can't do anything nationally. So they can only do things for their own little, let's say, stations. So that must be the same in the UK when it comes to prison service. And that's why they can't standardize it, because that makes it difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about how. The trouble is, as well, they're not very transparent. They're trying to ask questions to get an idea how things all fit together. It doesn't make it too easy. But it's one of these things. If there was a will, that it could be overcome. But yeah, I think at the moment it's the fact that each prison's making its own decision, and they're making different decisions, and
but you won't have standardization, and that means that there's just going to be holes in the system, and then something will happen there, and that doesn't solve the problem at all. That just makes it worse, and it just means that those that are trying to do that can go from prison to prison and try and find their holes, so.
Well, one thing's for certain. We can see there the evidence that the law change was completely pointless, that put the no-fly zones around them, which we all said at the point was, yes, but criminals aren't going to pay any attention to those. So what outcome do they have other than slowing down commercial operation and putting a process there that I won't mind so much if the process was swift, but the fact that it can take 30 days, that's just not, it's not very good when you're dealing with the weather that we have here as well. I think the impression I get is they are generally flexible. So if you did get approved and then the weather was bad on the day, you may well be all right. But it's down to that individual prison and the person you're dealing with, and people they can vary in how helpful they are. So you might have varying success depending on which prison it is.
We've gone over time now. Let me read this from New Zealand Civil Aviation to the new incoming Associate Minister of Transport. They say CAA, like many frontline regulators, is dealing with an out-of-date and not fit-for-purpose regulatory regime. This creates costs to the industry and inefficiency for the sector, as well as impacting on the timely delivery of regulatory outcomes, exacerbating, and they go on. So when they take me to court, I'm going to read this. Read it out to the judge. Look, not fit for purpose. It says here, they admit it themselves. But it's the same all over the world, isn't it?
So,
yeah.
What's going on with you now then, Bruce? I'm probably not quite up to date to where things are.
I've got this thing on my ankle, which tells them where I am all the time. They let me out with that on.
Oh, so you actually tagged?
No.
No, I was going to say, if they tagged you, you'd be the first person that would have that defeated.
Yeah, but it was interesting.
It probably, his level of crime, that's probably is like high crime there, So
yeah, but I mentioned on X that I was walking to the supermarket the other day and walked past a couple of police cars loaded with policemen, and they all said, "G'day, Bruce," and I don't know them, but they know me, so I'm known to police. And that's how it goes. So if there's nothing else, we can close up and go home now and have a drink.
Are you allowed near the council building still?
Am I what?
Are you allowed near your local council building?
No, they still say I can't film without their permission. I mean, there's going to be another massive confrontation shortly, but I'm going to take an army of supporters, have 20 or 30 people, all with cameras going in there, and let's see what they do then. I mean, they just don't. They believe they have more power than the government and the police and the privacy commissioner. Their rule is fine. No, I'm sorry. They're complete idiots, absolute idiots. And they don't keep.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Have you mentioned on the show about Kevin finding the back door in the Unitree robotics robot dog?
We haven't spoken about it.
No. It's a bit. Well, I don't think suitable for children, is it?
Not suitable for adults either, to be honest.
No, they found a back door, and the password 123, which I think is particularly.
Yeah, well, no one would guess that, though, would they? No. Be serious. Come on.
It sounds like you can access all the robots, so they've been able to tell what other robots are online and with which organisations. So it's something again. It doesn't mean it's necessarily intentional, but it won't reflect good on Chinese products with security. Again, that whole narrative can be used. That again, if we've got a Chinese product and there's a security problem with it, they really do need to.
They should take a lesson from the Americans and the way that they sign up journalists to the signal groups.
I'm going to say it's really bad now, isn't it? Because in Europe,
no. Mr. Trump said,
look really easy. It makes it look non-existent now because the fact that they can do that and they're worried about the Chinese drones and whatever is just complete hypocrisy.
Trump explained it. It was a glitch. It wasn't a security issue. It was a glitch.
Yeah, well, what I was thinking with the US side is that it's really the kind of threat that if you buy American military gear, that essentially even if it's not a kill switch, it was a good point was made that really they can essentially kill switch you because with any of the hardware you buy, you need their support, you need the ongoing parts supply, etc. So just by simply cutting you off and not supporting you, that alone would kill off whatever craft you'd purchase off them. So we're in kind of a very weird situation, especially with the stuff that came out on WhatsApp, where really it just came across as Europe bashing again. And when we're all allies, it's just
Yeah.
Very strange situation.
And you can bet that any electronic countermeasures will have a defeat capability built into them in case they're being used by the enemy. Because as Trump said, we're going to be selling a slightly less capable version of the F-47 to our allies because we don't want them having aircraft that are better than ours.
Well, I know I don't believe that anyone's looking at that and thinking Boeing and thinking, I'm probably not that worried.
Well, I think the Chinese are probably cheering, hey, it's the best thing that could happen.
And the
Shoot them down, they'll fall out of the sky by themselves. Anyway,
the kicker is, I mean, the French don't want anything to do with Europe, the EU, because we're out and the French are the normal militant cells where they don't want UK to do, to benefit at all. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones that are saying, that fund or whatever they're going to make. But the Americans, we can never trust their gear again. We've got to untangle it all that mess from our systems. You just can't trust them.
I'm surprised Brussels hasn't made a law against that.
Give them time. Give them time.
It's only time, yeah.
Make laws against everything else.
Yeah, you definitely can't buy banana-shaped drones. That's definitely not legal in the EU.
Who knew?
The worst thing is I have to keep pulling this off the bottle because it's stuck to it. See this little. Yep. I don't know if you can see this little thing here that's just constantly stuck. Pain in the backside, and this is an EU law. I know it's very small fry, but it annoys the shit out of me.
But this is the problem with the EU and even the UK and other countries. They now micromanage our lives to such a degree, it's ridiculous.
Well, they don't want people thinking for themselves.
Yeah, you can't think for yourselves anymore. It's like
there's a law against that.
Everything. It's so annoying.
Affiliate link in the description for this product, by the way.
You just yank it off.
now, as Gary would say, we're talking rubbish.
Yeah.
So, not that we haven't been doing that all evening, but anyway, so that's it. And don't forget to give the video a like, a thumbs up, and visit Gary's OnlyFans page because it's his only form of income.
Yes.
I've got to click the button once, and I'll click it again next week, everybody.
Good night.